Countries always want to prosper, even if it's at the expense of another country. A country will do whatever it takes to sustain and strengthen their civilization. Ever since the beginning of time, humans have fought against each other for survival. People focus on enriching their country and protecting its ideology, citizens, and resources. In order for a country to go to war, they must be prepared. A country needs strong military made up of people who are willing to sacrifice their lives for their country, and a group of people to lead the brave man into battle. Now that you have the people to fight the war, you now need people to gather resources and use them to create supplies and invent weapons for the military. It seems as if the country is now ready for war. Wars are started because of the opportunity to obtain resources, freedom of tyranny, ideology, and religion. People do not like the idea of going to war because destruction, hatred, and casualties are outcomes of war. These could be possible reasons people don't like to go to war. There are many arguments you can list that are against war. However, there are more arguments in favor of war. Countries have built their own civilizations due to war. For example, the Europeans arrived in the Americas in the late 15th century and took the land's resources with force. This opportunity occurred because the Ottoman Empire didn't want to let the Europeans step foot into their lands to trade with China and India. The Europeans had to come up with another way to continue to trade with China and India. In 1492, Christopher Columbus struck gold and found the Americas. The Europeans exploited the American lands. A war for resources began between the Europeans and the Americans. Because of the massive amounts of resources collected in the Americas, European countries were getting wealthy and it allowed them to develop and become strong countries. Later on, the American colonists rebelled in the late 18th century against the British. Because of Great Britain's strict autocratic ruling, the colonists were ready to start a war that would gain them independence from the British royal crown. The colonists were poorly represented in front of the British government and treated without respect. They wanted to liberate themselves from the tyrannical British government and become an independent country. Thereupon, the colonists were able to create a country called the United States of America. As a result, the United States was formed and was looking to expand westward. Ideology and religion are other reasons why wars begin. In the 19th century, the Americans believed in the manifest destiny, the belief that God gave the Americans permission to conquer all land that is close to their country's boundaries. The Americans believed that the land was rightfully theirs for the taking. Manifest destiny was very powerful in persuading people to take away land from the Mexicans. The Mexican-American War occurred and the Americans were victorious. As a result, the Americans received a huge chunk of land and led to a happy and prosperous country. There are many reasons why wars occur. Wars are started because of the opportunity to obtain resources, freedom of tyranny, ideology, and religion. There are many arguments you can list that go against war. However, there are more arguments in favor of war. Countries were able to build their civilizations because of war.